Hello, and welcome to another episode of TDV. T. Okay?
T.
We're going to start a new YouTube channel teaching sign language. So
Yeah.
How are we doing? Let us know.
Yeah, not good. I'll let you know now. It's bad.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today, we have a special little something. Dare I peek? Ooh, nope. 240, 4, 5, 3.
Yep.
And does that mean anything?
Well,
anything?
it's
Maybe
a raw
recipe?
PU'ERH. Yeah, it's like to match up with them. And I don't know. I mean, I knew at one point what this was, and I definitely don't know now.
Good.
Perfect. So
that's fun. I like that.
we will do this. Yeah,
Cool.
Another blind sample from the Canadian Maltese CIA SteamedMilk.
Yeah. Elusive.
Elusive indeed.
I know the Russian KGB have been after him for a while.
Got a nice fragrance to this. Kind of that camphor.
Yeah.
Like minty,
Medicinal.
menthol. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Kind of like old furniture in a tasty way. Yum.
Consumable old furniture.
Yeah. You got a 15-year-old couch from Goodwill?
That's what this
That's what this
tastes
tastes like.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. It smells strong. We'll see how it tastes in the cup.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this one definitely tastes 15 to 20 years oldish. Or it smells, probably Taiwan, Malaysia. I would guess Malaysia from this, but who knows?
And then when you're drinking, James, how would you infer, not that you can make the perfect guess, but how would you infer about storage? What characteristics are you looking to taste to be able to make an assessment on that?
I mean, you're kind of ballparking it, but
Sure.
it's just like, you once you have enough reference points, you're like, okay, Malaysia tastes a little bit more like this, or ages this way, or tends to.
Yeah.
Most of it is tends to, rather
Right.
than like hard rolls.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, maybe I recognize the storage from this place because like it's a person that has been selling their tea to the West or something like
Right.
that. So you just kind of get a feel for it. You're like, okay, well, this is clearly not kunming or particularly dry.
Right.
And
what would tell you if something were dry stored? In the cup?
It smell. Oh, in the cup.
Like, what are you tasting or not tasting? That
Maybe
tells
like
you?
more hay, and like it'd definitely be lighter flavored. Maybe less heavy in terms of base notes and whatnot.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect like beetroot flavor or something like that from the dry storage.
Okay. Cheers.
Carry out.
Really sweet for how much of that camphor flavor has come through.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, in that menthol-y category.
Yeah. I expect more. It's so herbaceous. I just kind of expect something a bit more. Yeah, just not as sweet.
Yeah, I suspect this steep will be the lightest one that we consume.
Yeah.
We will see. But
Yeah. It's nice like this, though. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, quite.
I don't think this is actually what it is, but the aroma reminds me a fair bit of like Taiwanese stored shaguan.
There's almost this like yerba mate earthy thing going on in that. Almost like desert flavors. For folks who are, interested in kind of how aging and storage plays into aging, typically the more humid, typically you might expect a slightly faster aging process, and as a result, you might expect certain flavors to come to the forefront more or not.
You would expect it to change much more quickly given hot and humid environments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're storing tea in Bend, like Scott was doing before they moved, you're going to expect some slow aging in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Super dry.
In fact, most of the U.S.
Yeah.
Not all of the U.S., but most of it.
Yeah, unless you're like in the deep south.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
And even then, you're probably less than like Hong Kong or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Still quite sweet.
Yeah, it's kind
a good balance
of
on
mellowed out quite well. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Very woodsy, menthol, camphor.
Yeah.
For me at least, I tend to like teas like this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just this sort of flavor profile.
Very attention grabbing. Not a tea you would just casually session, I think. Quite a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Really good balance.
Yeah.
Bitterness I can tell is coming.
Yeah, you can tell it's raw tea, but it's not particularly bitter.
No, and there's not a lot of that peaty, earthy smoke at all. The whiskey flavor, maybe a little bit. Scotch.
Mom test, no?
No.
Yeah. Ultralight?
Interestingly, maybe. I don't know. We're gonna see how this goes. We'll see how it develops. I was expecting this to be a much more bitter, so it could be that. I don't know.
What age would you guess?
Probably within like 10 to 15.
Okay, I would actually pick this probably as 20.
Oh wow,
is my guess. But I don't know. It's a ballpark, so.
Yeah, I don't get as much of the vegetable patch flavor that I can often.
Yeah,
there's sort of that intersection of ripe raw at a certain time in the development.
Big Beat hasn't paid us lately, so no beet teas for you, Big Beat.
We need financial incentives to decide how this tea tastes for sure. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, very different. I mean, not very different, but. It's nice. I'm surprised by how sweet it is.
Yeah. I suppose we haven't had a tea like this recently on the show, have we?
No. Do we know how old this is?
We will when we open the envelope. Yeah, pretty consistent too. The bitterness has started to slowly slide into there.
It's very medicinal still. It has a lot of those like camphor.
Yeah.
Herb flavors.
This is like one of those where you're like, if no one has ever had this sort of tea before, they're like, oh, I didn't know tea could taste like this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice. Speaking of humidity, is that accurate? 49?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, there you go. Compared to being like the tropical jungle, it's quite dry here, all things considered. Strangely enough, people think the Pacific Northwest is like, rains all the time and wet all the time.
Yeah.
Which it can be.
Yeah. I mean, and inside is almost always less humid than outside, which is another mistake people commonly make at PU'ERH. They're like, oh yeah, it's like 65 outside, but it's like, unless you're storing your tea outside, who cares?
I don't know why I have this image in my head, but I have an image of, I can't remember who showed this to me or us, but of like a tea warehouse, but it had flooded, so like all the tea has been like lifted up onto chairs and stuff, and you just see like a pool. Yeah, that's when you know the relative humidity is high.
And generally speaking, actually, they will. They rarely store it exactly on the ground. It's usually like slightly elevated.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Part of it's probably that flooding risk, and probably part of it is also like you don't want, like if you're in a humid spot, you don't want it to be that humid.
Yeah. Overall, what do you think?
I like it. Yeah. I don't know if it has like qualities that would lead me to think it's like a super good tea.
Sure.
But I think it's a solid tea.
Yeah,
I like the basic profile.
Totally.
Of it.
Yeah. I don't think, to your point, I don't think that this is going to go anywhere better. I think it's ready now.
Yeah. I mean, the bitterness might mellow out a bit, but I think what you have here is, close to what you're going to get.
It's not so bitter though. I mean,
it's not terribly bitter, but there's a little bit of it in there.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. So, like, it's still sweet. It makes me feel like it's an Iwu just because of how saccharine sweet it is.
Interesting.
But, like, that doesn't... The rest of the profile is so not...
I would guess not. Personally, I would guess not Iwu, but I'm really not sure. Yeah, I mean, shall we reveal it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. 2007. So... Purple Mahe.
You're right. That is Iwu.
Oh, wow.
So, 2007. All right. So, that's 17 years old. Fuyin Chang. And the price, that's in Taiwanese dollars. So, presumably it's Taiwanese stored. 13,500 NTD. That's divided by about 30. So, that's like, I don't know, $400.
And the URL is 858t.com.tw.
Yeah.
This was good. Interesting. I mean, again, I feel like that the Iwu guess was very much a guess.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised. Usually Iwu doesn't taste like this, but
No.
if you subject Iwu to certain storage parameters, then it's interesting that it could move into this
I wonder what the
category.
base material was like. Probably horrific.
Yeah,
very
it's
sweet
probably,
and also like crazy intense.
probably rougher than your in like the sort of Iwus that
It would
we bring on the show.
have to be.
I would think
Again,
so,
I'd be curious about the backstory on this too.
Yeah.
Huh, good. I'll have another sip.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Let's do it.
Inbox, bruh. Here we go. Nice. Virtual Voyeur. I would recommend this, honestly. I think this is a pickup for someone who's a tea nerd for sure. I think this is probably a tea that you could bring to someone who hasn't had too many ripes, and it occupies this kind of own space on the spectrum. It doesn't have so much similarity to other ripes that you're like, oh, this is just one of the many I could pick from. I think there's a uniqueness to this tea.
Yeah. Well, it's a raw too.
Sorry, that's what I've been.
It represents a certain profile that you're going to get, and isn't necessarily super accessible. I think you and I have probably tasted quite a few teas at this point that kind of veer into this sort of aging, it's not one that is super accessible or easy to find.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good residual flavor. And yeah, I'm just really curious about the base material.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta go to China. What the hell? Comment below. Take us to China.
Sponsor Denny.
Sponsor us.
We probably said some stuff that might not let us into China.
I hope not. I want to go to China one day for sure.
Okay.
Anything I said that could be construed like that was a lie, and I take that all back. And I am absolutely willing to fold on anything that's important in my life to be able to go to China. Not quite true, but
you must kill James on camera. At last episode, then he goes to China.
Yeah.
James, skull, crossbones.
Strong, a little energetic. Also, kind of a good day for a tea like this, I think.
Yeah, definitely a little warming, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Cheerio.
Pip pip.
Ooh.
The bitterness coming in. Yeah, I brewed this one a little harder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can tell it's definitely a raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even that raw note is like not something you necessarily associate with Iwu type teas. Certainly not with 17-year-old Taiwanese aged Iwu tea. So interesting.
Very grassy now. A little more dynamic than I expected. Yeah. I would say this is a pickup. Who sent this to us?
SteamedMilk.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Thank you, dog. Yeah, really good. And interesting, like a good pick. This is definitely a tea nerd's tea for sure. So cheers to you, buddy. Yeah, subscribe, do all the stuff, whatever. Where can people find SteamedMilk? That's the most important part.
That's a good question. SteamedMilk can comment if they want to be found.
Yeah. Chinese, not Chinese, Canadian CIA. And again, 858t.com.tw here for this one. Yeah, this is good. Cheers.
Cheers. We will see you all next time. Peace.
Peace.